Okay, this evening I'm going to reply to a concern on gearsluts.com. It was mentioned in regards to problems with the Blofeld that you can't get the release portion to control anything in the mod matrix. Well, actually you can. I will show you how. We start with a net patch, which is just 8-foot sawtooth. Boring. Need to create some release on the amplitude envelope, so I'm going to set it to 72. We need to have an envelope to control this, and I'm choosing envelope 3. Just take the ADSR, standard ADSR right there, and it's got the attack of 0, decay of 0, sustain of 64, and a release of 58, just for yucks. You need to create a modifier. And on that, I'm going to take envelope 3 plus minus 32. I've also moved the camera so it's to my right because I'm left-handed. It's always, my hand's always getting in the way. What it's done is pulled the baseline down, taking the envelope and adding in minus 32 has pulled the baseline of the sustain down to 0, and the release portion is now running negative. But we can use that to our advantage. I want to create a way of getting the release to work. So I'm going to take modifier 1 and I'm going to assign it to M1 amount. And modulation slot 1, which is controlling, well, already is set to LFO 1 pitch. I need to set an amount. Let's try 32, just for starters. Note down, note up. Note down, note up. What is more we can do with that modifier? Let's go to an open slot, say 9. I'm going to say modifier 1 controls LFO 1 speed. Let's set it to minus 38. Let's see what it does. It gets faster as it starts releasing. So logically, if I put it to a positive number, it will do the opposite. Yep. Let's see if we can create some sort of pad sound with this. Well, I'm going to change this to a 16-foot. I'm going to change this to a square wave. I'm going to take the pulse width all the way down to 32. And detune it. Take 2 oscillators and detune them. Then what? Sorry. Have sawtooth 8-foot. Detune it about +2. Set up a real quick and dirty long attack and decay. So we're saying 96 linear, 106, and about 82 for the release. Like that. Go to the filter. Set key track to 100. Resonance of 42. Take the cutoff frequency all the way down to 0. Set the the amplitude amount to 58. Now, I will not be using unisono, but I will be adding another oscillator. I'm going to take that to 2-foot. Set it to sine wave, which is all the way at the end. Take the level down to about 48. Oscillator 1 and 2 are sitting at 127 apiece. I'm going to take another LFO. We're using LFO 1. So I'm going to set this LFO 2 to sample and hold. Turn off that sync I just had on. Set key track to 100. Set speed to 122. And an oscillator 3. I'm going to go to FM. And set that to LFO 2, FM amount of 24. Some high notes. Now you can hear how the LFO on the pitch is only kicking in when the release portion is set. I want to change that so it gets faster instead of slower. Because it's a negative modifier, it's inverted, so a negative number gives you faster. Let's go 42. I also want a filter, pardon me, to open up when the release is hit. So I'll go modifier 1, and I go to F1, cutoff. That closes it. Now we know LFO 3 is open, so let's set that to about 48. Set the delay to 48. And set the fade to 48. Let's find an unused slot in the mod matrix. And say LFO 3 to all pitch. And plus 12. And let's turn on the deco. Halfway saturation. And a nice little tape slap. Let's add some drive. Let's add some FM actually. Set it to oscillator 3. Filter amount of 1. Go to drive. Set it to tube. Set this to about 12. I'm trying to watch my meters on this digital SLR. Now, of course, you can also use that modifier to control the speed of the other LFOs. LFO 2 you don't really want to play with because that's for FM. Or we take LFO speed, LFO 3 speed. Note up. And there you go. It's not too often I don't use unisono, but I wanted to show you that I also know how to create a patch with 3 oscillators and no unisono on. That gives you the basics. Have a good evening.